The resurrection of mutants has always required 5 combined powers. But what if I told you that Professor X managed to do it alone? He didn't need the Phoenix. He didn't need the 5. Just his mind and the desire to bring back the most important person in his life. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video we're going to tell you everything that happened in the penultimate issue of X-Manhunt. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The chapter begins a few minutes earlier with Charles Xavier telepathically contacting Sage and urgently requesting extraction for himself and another person. Professor X sends her his location, local conditions, obstacles, and enemies. Sage is one of the most intelligent mutants on the planet and is part of the group known as X-Force. But she has so much respect and gratitude for Charles that she immediately abandons X-Force's current mission and sends the powerful teleporter John Wraith, also known as Kestrel, to assist the professor. And indeed, it doesn't take long before the heroine receives confirmation from Kestrel that Xavier is already safe. Then she sends new coordinates to the teleporter and heads out to meet them and deal with the mysterious last Krakoan resurrection egg on Earth. But before that, she arms herself with a mini arsenal and activates her teleportation belt, arriving at her destination in Mexico City. However, to her surprise, Kestrel hasn't arrived yet because, as we saw in the last chapter, he had some setbacks with the X-Men. It seems that after leaving Cyclops defeated, the leader of the X-Men sent Kid Omega and Magic, who are now trying to track his movements. A few moments later, Kestrel finally appears, bringing with him Professor X and the impressive last resurrection egg of the Krakoan era. Of course, they are still not safe out here. That's why Theresia says there's no time for talking, as the X-Men could arrive at any moment, and she takes them into a secret hideout. As soon as they enter, the facility activates a psychic protection protocol, making the place safe enough for what they are about to do. Once they reach the center of the facility, Kestrel notices that something is wrong with Xavier, and Sage agrees. She knows that Charles is not in his best mental state, most likely because his stress levels are extremely high. Overhearing the conversation, Xavier tells them not to worry because he has everything under control. Staring intently at the resurrection egg, he says he just needs to calm down and focus his mind on what matters most. Still suspicious, Kestrel wants to know why Sage is helping Charles, to which she reveals that the professor is a good man. He was the first and best friend she had for a long time, so much so that she would burn the world down to keep him safe. But while Charles is focused on his goal, Theresia just wants to clear up 2 things. First, how did Xavier create this egg? And the answer is simpler than it seems. Charles was one of the rulers of Krakoa. He had access to the necessary DNA and could store backups in his Cerebro helmet. So he created the egg, matured the body, and prevented it from hatching until this moment. But she still wants to know why Charles did this, since he always advocated that resurrection was only for mutants. That's when Charles responds that his entire life has been dedicated to mutants. He made countless sacrifices to make the dream of mutant kind a reality. So what he is doing now, just this once, is something for himself. Sage understands the professor completely and warns him that he has 30 more minutes before the X-Men show up. That's why Charles refocuses on the resurrection egg and does the unimaginable. During the Krakoan era, resurrection was only possible when 5 specific mutants worked together. But as Charles himself says, he doesn't need the 5, nor does he need the Phoenix. He uses his own mental abilities, amplified by Cerebro, and brings back to life a classic character from X-Men history. Many fans theorized that the one inside the resurrection egg would be Hope Summers, who sacrificed herself during the fall of X Saga. But here, it is revealed that it is actually Lilandra Neramani, the great true love of Charles Xavier's life and the former empress of the Shi'ar Empire in the Andromeda Galaxy. Now, all that remains is to place her mind, her essence, into her physical body, and then Lilandra regains consciousness. Naturally, Lilandra is completely disoriented upon learning everything that has happened since her death. She is surprised to find out they are on Earth and running from Charles's own students. But for Charles, that is not what matters most. Even in this critical situation, the professor drops Cerebro and gives his wife a passionate kiss, telling her that what matters now is that he has her back, that he will never leave her, and that they need to save their daughter. This very emotional scene has to be interrupted by Sage, who tells them there's no time for this. They need to move before the X-Men find them, and the truth is, it won't be long before that happens. So she hands them weapons, signal monitors, key cards, and protein bars. Since they need transportation, Sage provides aircraft capable of reaching hypersonic speeds, which even have a certain resemblance to Shi'ar technology, meaning Lilandra can operate them. Charles is eternally grateful to Sage, who declares that he doesn't need to thank her. After all, he saved her soul and secured her future, so the least she could do was help him finally find peace. As Charles and Lilandra leave for the stars, Kestrel thinks they are all completely crazy. But Sage knows this isn't over yet. The X-Men are still hunting Charles, who remains the most wanted man on Earth, and now only one chapter remains before we see how this story concludes. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more epic stories like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next adventure.